Oh, here.
All right. Today we're going to have the Keys Art Project, and that should be very exciting. And Nancy is going to tell us all about collages. And she's been working in various forms of art for quite a long time, she tells me. So I'm sure she's going to have a great program for us today, and we'll hopefully learn a lot and become so much more talented than we were before. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, we're glad to have her. I don't have other announcements because I don't know what they are, but I do know that Joe just sent me an email saying that they had completed the surgery and that Jim was going into the recovery room. So,
Cool. Great.
welcome, yes, to those who are be live streaming today. You will, I'm sure, benefit very much from what goes on. So, anyway, Nancy's going to have some opening remarks here, and I'm going to turn it over to who? Nancy?
Okay. And I don't need that. Okay.
No, you don't need
I'm
to.
All right. Well, welcome. And I know this is the brave group of keys that decided to do this today because I know there was a little bit of resistance to kind of releasing your inner child. So if you remember from elementary school, you probably have done collage before. We used to rip up magazines at school and paste stuff. Well, we're going to kind of do that today, but it's really about our faith journey. And I have some examples of collages that I've done, but just so you kind of know, I work in lots of different media. I'm a watercolorist. I work in acrylic with the collage. And I also am working in encaustic, which is a combination of beeswax and resin and oil pigments. So this is my faith journey. I love stained glass and I love color. So we went to the painted churches and took pictures of the stained glass and kind of used some of that in my collage. And you can definitely come up and look at some things. I often work with people who want to have something in tribute to a family member. I did a collage this year for someone's father about their grandfather who'd been in the service. And so taking poetry that he had written and pictures of the family and creating a memory for that person. And so there's just limitless things you can do. And yes, I used to do scrapbooking, and that's also variation on the theme of collage. So it can be whatever you want, and there's there's no wrong answer to this. And that's the good part. The other thing I want to tell you is there's papers and tissues and things that you are welcome to use, cut, rip, whatever. So the first thing that I want you to do is to know that there's a 12 by 12 at each table for you to work with, and there's a piece of newsprint. And so kind of it would be helpful for you to maybe lay things out on the newsprint before you commit them here, because once you get it all pretty, then you're like, okay, now what do? I got to glue it, and and you're going to be overlapping, so you kind of want it on a separate piece of paper. So spread out, there's plenty of room. Make yourself at home. And if you want to stand and work, that's fine. Sometimes it's helpful to look down on the piece when you're working. I'm going to tell you just a few things about the principles of collage, okay? Because I don't want you to make some of those mistakes that do happen when you're first working in collage. So if you have photographs or people, there's a rule about whatever your surface is, and kind of break it up in your mind into thirds, okay? And so if you have photographs of people, you want to kind of look at where you're going to position that on the page. And it's helpful if when you're posing someone, you don't have them looking off the page, meaning If I'm in a picture and I'm standing like this, I'm going to want to be on the left-hand side of the work, because if I'm over here and I'm doing that, I'm looking off of the artwork. So think about the viewer will be like, well, what's interesting out there? And will not be interested in what you're doing. So kind of think circularly. If someone's looking up, you might want them down at the bottom and looking up towards the rest of the work. And really collage is a story. And so I know you've brought things today to make it your own. I use lots of script and stamps and stencils, so there's lots of things that you can do to make it even richer. But today we're just going to focus on kind of setting up the pieces. Most artists don't use scissors. They rip things, but you do whatever you're comfortable doing, because I'm not going to tell you what to do there. The other thing is that the glue that I use is an acrylic. And so anything that you put over it, it could disappear if it's not totally dry. So if you inked something over the acrylic, you'd probably want to put ink underneath rather than on top of the acrylic. You can use Elmer's glue though. You can water down glue and it works just as well. As long as it's something that disappears. A lot of people use glue sticks. That's fine too. But this stuff is good because you have to make sure that your whole surface on the bottom is wet and that the whole surface on the top is, so that it seals that piece of paper. Your paper is not always going to be color fast, so you don't want to have it in the sun. And you probably want to make sure that all the surfaces are flat, because some of the things that happen with a large piece of paper like this, if you collaged a whole piece, you'd get ripples. So it helps you to either use a credit card or something to make sure that you're moving the glue underneath to the edges to make sure that you're not getting all those ripples. It's hard to fix it after the fact, so I'm telling you that. So, and the other thing to know is that you have papers here that are porous. And so when you're using something like this, it's really kind of interesting and cool. But the other thing is that it's going to be darker once you put that on. So just keep that in mind if you are very much into color. I see someone with some football-y things over there. They're probably very interested in keeping the color accurate. So just so you know, things that are tissue or handmade based are going to be darker than they appear in real life. So that's important. So I want to welcome you to start, and I will go around and kind of work with you. And if you have any questions about what you've brought today, that would be really helpful to, I'll try to answer any questions that you have. Again, any quotes and things. I love to play with fonts on the computer. So in your mind, when you're looking at something that you're doing, I know you've planned already to bring some things. I see some things with script. It's really nice to use those extra fonts that nobody ever uses on the computer. And the other thing you can do is look in books. Since you're not selling your work, you don't have to worry about copyright so much. But I pulled some books from First Prez's library, some beautiful stained glass that Marc Chagall created in a book in the library. That's wonderful background for a faith journey. And there's some beautiful calligraphy books where you can actually see people having done their art, which could enhance some of yours. So always be looking for things that kind of attract you, that speak to you when you're doing collage. And in general, it's going to speak to other people when they're looking at it too, because you're putting your heart into it. My grandparents, I'll show you this picture. Some of these are immigrant pictures. Many pictures you have to pay for online, but if you want photographs that are free, Ellis Island has some wonderful photographs that you can use, and a lot of those are from the Ellis Island immigrant pictures. But these are pictures of my grandparents from their wedding day in the 1900s. And so I kind of did a tribute to them. And then this is my grandmother and her two sisters. And the great thing about black and white photos is that you can color them with colored pencil and kind of make, again, kind of make it marry the rest of the picture. So things to think about, not just for today, but if you wanted to do something with a loved one's picture that was really meaningful for you. That's an idea. So please take a look at these and come up with some ideas and go ahead and get started. And I'm going to give you a little bit of this acrylic varnish to start with on these paper plates so that you can start adhering things when you're ready. If you want me to look at your design before you get started, that's okay too. And maybe I can make some suggestions. Okay? Absolutely.
How did you get that background, yellow, greenish?
I used acrylic paint.
Okay.
On the background. I painted some things in it so that I had that that underneath. No, just where I wasn't, because I mapped out what I was going to do, and then I just painted where I wanted colors that I knew were in the stained glass. So that's a, and if you have things, look around, go to the other tables, because I just kind of randomly put papers. So you may find papers that really match the motifs that you're using on your collage. Okay, any other questions? Okay. You at home, this is kind of something that you can take and use with grandchildren. I think it's a great activity for a rainy day. And a lot of times you can get sample pieces of tissue and things at craft stores if you don't have something laying around. Somebody gave me all of these wonderful coffee bags that you can cut and use as background on things. Are you stealing things? No, please feel free to move around the cabin. So I do have some scrapbooking stuff. You can also deli paper. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I know people don't usually save it because it's usually got, mustard and ketchup on it or whatever. But you can stamp that with ink, and you can use that in your collage as well. And I don't know if you'd want to do that, but I use anything I can. Coffee filters are great. And so there's things that you can do to add texture to your work. So, yes. There are some scissors I don't have one for every table, so we'll have to kind of share if you're going to do scissors. Did I?
These are mine.
There was a pair. Oh. Oh, that would be great. All I know is Butch's favorite scissors Harold is using. Those are Butch's favorite scissors. He was a little nervous about bringing them today, but I've told them that you were all trustworthy people and that it would be fine. It would be fine. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I don't think we need to use all of this, because if we use that, we should probably stay within.
If you want to see, Hobby Lobby does have 12 by 12. That's why I used the 12 by 12 size to give you today. And these come in black, gold, and white. So I've used them. I think they're fine. They have come with a little thing that you can hang them on the back, so you don't have to worry about wiring it or anything. And they do not come with a mat. But usually with canvas, you don't mat a canvas. If you were working on paper, then you would look at doing a mat. So this has the mat because I did this one on paper. But in general, the things you can use, this is a cradle board. You can use on board. Framing for canvas is pretty much standard. So you could also put it just on an easel without a frame. So if you had something like that. I also have some colored pencils, Nona, if you want to use some color on the background that you don't see. They're not great, but I have a lot more supplies at home, y'all, but I didn't want to bring my whole studio here because I thought that would be a little overwhelming. So that's beautiful. Yes. Okay. Going to town. Yes.
Feel free to do anything to it, change it in any way. I want it to look like a collage. but
And
obviously
a
this is
garden.
not.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
The only thing I would be very careful of is anything that I would look at it from below. When you have very direct lines, you want them to be straight, or it's going to drive you crazy when you look at it. So, meaning that you want to make sure this is parallel.
Yeah,
When you glue
Yes,
it.
right.
In general, I think you have a good eye. I mean, I think it looks fine. It kind of incorporates everything. Now, and you don't care if this is blocked, that's okay.
No, I
Yeah.
had it so there was, it
A
wasn't
little bit,
blocking much, it
yeah,
just a
yeah.
little.
I know there's
I
such
felt like
good
it should go
parts
in the
there.
center. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to, I realize.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think that's really good.
Okay.
And so when you're working on here, this is 12 by 12, I think.
Right.
So just make sure you really are careful with the edges because it can pull up very easily from here. Once you have a frame on it, it won't matter.
Right,
But just make sure you've glued all the way around.
okay.
So I'm gonna start giving you some of that.
Okay.
The sponge brushes are junk brushes. Do not worry if they get kind of gunky. I'm probably just going to throw them out. But it's helpful, I think, to have a bigger one if you can. And okay, Butch, I might need help opening this. I don't know.
Hey, yeah, thank you.
You're doing all
Well,
right.
you'd think.
Yeah, it's one of those dumb tops. Yeah.
I hate those. It's a childproof cap, so I can't do
It
it.
looks like it may be on their cookie.
Well,
Just have to- know
I-
you have to
I
get
think
this
I-
started right.
if we don't get it open, then we'll have to. There's a lot of thinking going on in here. I can tell because it's quiet, but you're welcome to. Okay. So I'm just going to get you started.
So that's still-
It's pretty liquidy, and that's okay. I should have shooken this up a little bit. Yeah, could you? Yeah. But it shouldn't be, so just be careful when you, two hands for beginners, as my mother says. It should be a little bit thicker than that, but that'll.
When you get it ready here, if I look at yours.
Ohio State. So this is your faith journey, Ohio State.
Yeah, well, and it's all obviously all related to football. which is
Well, that's
a
all
big
right.
Item at Ohio State University.
Uh-huh.
This is the stadium.
Nice.
Now, what I'm hiding there is Script, Ohio, one of their very famous band.
They have wonderful bands, but as usual, the band gets,
So I'm trying
Not
to
as
figure
much
out,
credit,
okay,
yeah.
these are just different pieces.
uh-huh.
My good wife cut
Mhm.
for me. So I thought I'd try to put as many of them as I can.
Sure.
Is there any,
In other words, if you have any suggestions.
I think this is a
feedback.
good layout because you haven't totally
I don't wanna
gotten rid of
cover
anything.
every-
Right,
right, I don't
exactly.
wanna cover
Right. And so I think you've done a good job because you have enough of the OSU. It's okay to,
Okay.
and I think overall your center of interest is right in the middle.
Yeah,
That's
what Brutus
all
did.
right.
Still got a flag
It's
here.
Brutus,
I don't know
okay.
whether-
And that may or may not work, and you can
Yeah, that's
always
fine.
decide
That's-
after.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do is do that after it's framed. If you're going to frame it, you can have it hanging from the frame itself. Just a thought. You can put a hole in it and string it on a string or whatever, kind of as a pennant, right? Okay. Is anyone else ready for some of this good stuff? We're still working on the, oh, I'm so glad you have music. That's my favorite motif to use. Yeah. No, it's good. I am going to give you some glue.
So would you suggest putting the glue down first and trying to attach these and then do
That's a
there?
good question. What I usually do, I think about what's on the bottom, and I do a lot of gluing onto the canvas first. Then I'll put a thin layer on the back of the first piece, and then smooth it onto the. And then you've got some residual glue. That's okay because you're gonna keep doing it. And then you're gonna put more glue on top. Exactly. How are you doing? You got everything you need? Okay. I just don't want to stop people from creating when they're doing everything.
It's supposed to cover the whole thing.
It should. You want to have. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you because you've got a bunch of photographs. You want to keep it simple around the frame. So I think it's okay to not. But I would put something. I would just say, look and see if there's a paper that you like that you could put around, or sometimes there's things that you could, highlight areas with some design, or like that's a little bold, but there might be a paper that kind of speaks to you that's kind of softer. What speaks to you, Nona? That's what's called intuitive creating. So when an artist is, I'll tell you a little bit about that. When an artist is in the studio, I may not have a set idea about what something's going to look like. I may, and then I move towards that. But sometimes I just start by putting colors on a canvas. And I'm not sure where I'm going, but I figure out, okay, I want to use, maybe I look at my color wheel and I say, I want to do a triad of colors. And so I'll pick a green and a magenta, and let's say an orange. Okay, and those are going to be my base colors. And then I'll let myself go and just say, where is it taking me? And then after you kind of do that on a canvas, then you start editing. And editing is where I say, oh, I don't like this mark, or this is working over here. So let me see what I can do over here to make me like this area. And so you kind of work with marks, you work with brushes. You may take out things with acrylic. You can take off paint with alcohol. Or water. You can, I mean, as long as it's not completely dry, you can wet it and take it off. So there are things you do to kind of, nothing is permanent. Let's put it that way. And so watercolor tends to be a little harder to do that with. Once you put it there, it's kind of there, but there are less permanent dyes that will lift somewhat. So you don't worry too much at the beginning. You just kind of get that white paper phobia out of the way and start working. I like the cooperative work over here in this table. I love it. Love it. And if you want to take another one of these and shift it like this. So once you have it where you want it, you go ahead and you can kind of scrape that along so you're flattening it out.
Look for something.
Yeah, use that because it's the same size. That'll help you. And Nona, there are other papers if that doesn't float your boat, what you got in there, okay? Don't worry. Okay, I'm just kind of letting you know it's like 11:30, so you have about a half an hour to keep it. No, that's okay. So when it's food time, we'll just break and you can come back because I'm going to stay another hour to make sure you're at a good stopping point. So no worries, don't panic. It's not a race. It's kind of just a exploration of something that you're not used to doing. What can I help you with, Pat? Anything?
Um, I, I'm just putting.
Okay. So you have a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
don't know how much I want, but
right.
I'm looking more for me.
Right. So this is about, your faith. It's about family, fun. There's fun and there's beauty. So,
I
you're
painted
getting,
this.
that's wonderful. And so you're getting your point across. I love this. This is kind of cool. So now it's sort of what to me looks like a bunch of things floating that you need to kind of think about
Right.
overlapping some stuff.
Yeah.
So how is that going to be? Is this a real photo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it helps to not do real photographs because a
Oh.
real photograph won't. First of all, it's heavy, but the acrylic on top of it is gonna not
would I
make it very
use?
clear. You'd have to, yeah, go Xerox it with on a color
Oh,
copier,
Xerox it.
and that way,
And then use.
and
that.
then you use that, yeah.
Okay.
And then you don't ruin the photograph if it's a photograph that means a lot to you.
Well, I can.
Oh,
do
you've
another
got two.
one
You've got
printed.
two pictures.
Oh.
Oh, where'd that come from?
Is this something I could just? I thought this steeple or something.
Go ahead and
Let me
Xerox it with
Xerox
the
that
other
up.
one because it'll be
You-
on the
you want
same
it in color or
page.
black and white?
Yeah.
Yeah. Black and white. Wouldn't it be better?
No, I think that just do them in color. Just do them both in color on one Xerox, and then she can decide how to. Because you've got blue here, Pat. So I think you're okay having that blue sky of that steeple somewhere. And then, and the yellow is so precious. I love that. This is probably the only outlier that doesn't, well, you've got Mickey, which kind of goes together, doesn't it? Mickey Mom. No, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they were on the same card.
Okay, okay. So it's kind of decided, but this is nice too. This is a postcard,
Yeah, Japanese or something.
and that has the pink in it. I mean, you could do something like
putting them together.
putting them together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind
Well,
of
maybe I could
right?
Just have grandmother. I don't need all that.
Right. So what happens in the collage world is that you are kind of revealing some things and suggesting other things.
Yeah.
So I really like this as your center. That makes a lot of sense. I like these very much. I might put these up here so that you're what's happening is then your eye goes down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. This could overlap here,
Uh-huh.
and then you could even have this underneath. So you see, like making little vignettes in your piece
Yeah.
also will give you more room for other things.
Yeah. Right.
So
And it-
having this kind of like there,
yeah.
you
and
know.
it gives more.
Right. And so you work around the flower in different ways.
Yeah.
You could look for, you've got this beautiful green. I don't know if you want sparkly. Let's see.
Yeah.
But this is kind of nice. You could actually have a piece of paper in the
Oh.
middle
Yeah.
and have this underneath.
Well, that's kind of nice. Yeah.
So you see, and then it'll kind of bring everything together.
Right. Yeah.
So kind of thinking about that,
Yeah. And I even thought.
and that doesn't have to be the one you choose, but I'm just,
Yeah.
look around and see what
I thought of.
really like that
cutting-
yellow.
cutting that.
Yeah, you could. I mean, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
too. I would consider you kind of have this one kind of ripped. I really
Yeah.
like that light look. I would think about doing that and
Oh.
using a piece
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
More than hard angles are sometimes hard and hard to look at unless they're in the corner.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you can even cut this to be pretty in a different way and have, grandmother kind of peeking out underneath it. So, just kind of play with that. Move. That's the whole idea, is to kind of move them around. How's it going over here? You got lots of pictures. Lots of pictures going on. Okay. So you're probably going to need something to unify all of that. It's a lot happening. And you may want to think about editing, not having all of the pictures. And I know that's really hard when it thinks it's a happy memory. So having a bottom color that kind of is in a lot of these, you notice you picked the yellows, but finding something that has some, not to take away from the photos, but to kind of add a little bit of zing. So let's say, let me see. This is, I don't think you really want to use this, but I'm just saying if you highlight some of these pictures with a border of something, then it's not all of them together. Like they have separate presence, I guess. Yeah, framing them a little bit. Not all of them. I wouldn't do it all, but I think about doing a couple to kind of highlight them. Okay. How are you doing over? Are you helping? Is this all right? The project. I like it. Are you making this for someone? For yourself? For you? Oh, good.
This is our 10th wedding anniversary.
Nice.
And we got married here.
Oh, very good. Very nice. Okay. So I would say, did you have particular colors in your for your wedding?
Yes.
And was it pink and yellow?
Pink. Some pink.
Okay. So kind of,
Like
oh, the roses are beautiful. Okay. So let me think. Let me look and see what we have that might help you a little bit.
How are you gonna have it?
Oh.
See, I was gonna say, where you gonna cut it? Go ahead, cut it.
Hmm.
And then we'll see if we can match it.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of pink there, but let's see. Oh, I love it. I love what you're doing. It's going to be good.
That's gonna be good, and that's gonna be good. I'm just sitting here.
No. I like that. Now, okay, remember that it's only 12 by 12 and you are kind of keeping within the lines. That's good. Okay. Right.
Where to put what?
Okay. So you've got
Nancy
two
said this
hymns.
stuff- Nancy said that this was go through.
Yes, well.
It will, but it'll be dark. It'll be dark. If you want all of this,
See, this would show through a lot.
I have a suggestion. Okay. I would suggest that I would stagger them a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. And you could tilt them or do different things with them. But I think that would be rather than having them straight across.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm not sure that maroon and red are like a good color choice.
She hasn't.
She hasn't critiqued that yet.
Yep.
So what is your favorite color? What do you like? With that red brings, okay. So I think that's a good choice. And then let's look at green as a complement to red, but then it's a little Christmassy.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's
Worship of the
okay.
King can be a Christmas.
All right. So then I would look for things that kind of have those colors in it. Yes, ma'am. So it's over on that table. It pours pretty quick, Nance. So let me do it. So it doesn't have a lid on it, but
She
I
wants
just
to be the one
I'm
in
just
control
worried
of-
that it's kind of liquidy. I didn't want you to go, whoa. You have a beautiful green shirt. I want it to stay that way. Sure. Okay.
Do I go over the whole thing again? with
I
everything,
would.
or-
I would.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you would?
You would. Yeah. Because it's going to take a while to dry, but you want to make
Yes,
sure that
make sure that
everything
everything's
is
down.
pressed down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very
I would
good.
go ahead and
Thank you.
Now that's really nice already. I see with those colors underneath. You're picking good color. They're going to be a little bit darker when they're wet, but I think it's going to look great. So you're going with white on white, Nance.
No, I'm gonna go, yes. and then
Yes.
the
Okay.
color
And then you're
over.
going to put the color over. Okay. Anybody else need glue yet? Yes, no, maybe? Isn't that pretty? Yeah, so I can see this is a thicker thing, so I can tell that
Yeah,
it's gonna
need it.
it's gonna give you a little bit of a hard time there. Which is true. Sometimes you use things that have even wood fiber in them, and it takes a lot of glue to keep them
You
down.
probably learn a lot when you do more of them.
Well,
as
and
you go along and figure out.
there's sometimes you make mistakes and you go, well, that's not, that didn't really work the way I wanted it to. How are you doing, Mary? You think you're doing good? Okay, doing good. All right. It won't work. Why don't you think it'll work?
It's aluminum on the back.
I think that it will work if the acrylic should hold it. I'm not going to say that it's going to stay. I wouldn't use something that's been bent like that. I'd
I'm
use
gonna
a
cut that
flat.
off.
Yeah,
I was just trying to open it up, and when I realized it.
I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay.
Okay,
And if not,
it doesn't matter.
if
Yes,
not,
this is
and I would use a different kind of glue on it, but I think it'll work. All right. Oh, see, Nona, you got it. You got
It's
it
too
going.
much and it doesn't look good.
Why do you
Tell me
think
what I
it?
need to
Why do you
do.
think it's too much?
I don't know.
Um.
I'd like just one Jesus,
Okay.
maybe, in the church.
Okay.
And
I think doing this like this, maybe having. You don't need her white dress being there.
her is me.
Her is you. Her dress.
That's Dr. Skates. He married.
Wow. Okay. So I think that's better. And having that this is a beautiful thing. I mean, I might even send her that. If you keep shifting, you might have, yeah. Now, the only other thing you could do is you could do a dark border around like the window and kind of do a darker, kind of to
Oh, yeah.
something like that. You could do something like
to
that.
brighten that up.
To this one?
There was not a good picture of them with the preacher, except that one black and white. So,
Okay. Okay. So, I might take something else. I mean, you've got the blue background, but do something really, really brighter, like, I don't know, and kind of cut around, maybe not orange, but you know what I'm saying? It like, this is so pretty that I don't want to deviate from that. You could go white on white. No, I'm not being kind. So the silver,
So that might be pretty.
that would be pretty. So you could do something like that.
Okay.
Okay. But I think it's good. I think you have an eye, Nona, because you photograph. So you're always cropping. You're always looking,
I had to
Um,
laugh because everything you said about
breaking
the
things
rule
up.
of thirds
Uh-huh.
and I'm always trying to put eyeballs on one of the X's and
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, and you can break those rules, but if you don't like what you're seeing, it's probably because you've created something like that.
Well, and I usually don't. On the background before we get started.
Yeah.
How'd you get that blue? Is that paper?
It's all the little squares.
Oh,
Yeah,
clever.
with some other colors mixed in because there wasn't enough of just.
I'm sure there's other blue here.
Maybe.
I have nothing if not squares of blue. Is this the same blue
So
color?
do I want to tilt it and show some white, or do I just want to?
That is totally up to you.
think I want.
Totally up to you.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to cover up some of it anyway. You know, I would leave some and see what
Maybe I should
happens.
Just do one whole sheet or something.
Well, that would be pretty busy.
Thank you.
I
Do you have a blue?
didn't really bring a lot of those because I really thought, you know,
Like the other better?
maybe just doing kind of different things. Is this your
Okay.
daisy?
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. That's so pretty. You're not going to use it?
I don't know. I don't know how.
Well, let me look at this. Because of how it is, I'm gonna. You weren't gonna use it, so I'm gonna do something different.
Be nice.
Okay, let me just see.
Please help. I need help.
You don't really. You're doing fine, but let me just show you, kind of layout wise, what I'm thinking.
Okay, who's got the blue?
I know that's looking good.
It's right here. Okay, you ready?
Yes, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. You like that? Okay, let's see. She goes up here. I know and it's okay to you know, not have them all, not showing everything. I don't know that I liked keeping the Corinthians there. I don't know, maybe the flower doesn't add anything. I was just thinking that maybe you could put that behind. It's just an option.
White background.
Yeah, because you have a lot going on. I mean, you don't need the blue necessarily. You could put I like that he's got that little bit of blue. So let's just slip this back here. That's what kind of, let's slip a couple and see. Less is sometimes more. You ever heard that?
Yes.
Yes.
And in my house,
It's
that's
true.
what it's true.
Okay.
We're not real.
You're minimaler.
Oh, yeah, we lean toward it, except in some areas, like our office.
Okay, so let's just see. I like to put color in threes, okay, rather than fours, because odd numbers, yeah, I don't think you need that. Odd numbers sometimes are more interesting. So there's some more flower. You could kind of do that. What's that? Oh, that's that one. Oh, that's pretty.
I also have this that came with.
Okay. Let's do this rather than that. And then you can put a little bit of this, like that. Sometimes repeating things is a good thing. So it has an overall look. You've repeated this in 3 different places.
Okay.
This is repeated. The flower's repeated. And so it gives it more consistency. And our eye likes that, whether we think we do or not in our lives or in our offices. we like that. It's kind of like you're marrying. It's marrying the picture. Okay. So there you go. Yes.
I may have some bubbles.
Okay.
If I dare,
Okay. Where are your bubbles?
Probably more than any other coach we ever had.
Okay. Some of it will
Will it go down when it?
will, but I would just kind of
Work it
work it.
out.
I would press on
I
it.
noticed when I walked over to that table and
Yeah.
turned around, and then I could see
You can see them a
that I
little
had
bit. Yeah.
some, yeah,
Well, it's
But-
when you're using large papers that
I
tends
know.
to happen.
yeah.
Um,
Like you
But-
say, the edge. doesn't
Yes.
necessarily-
the edge won't matter. What you would do in you can't really until it's semi-dry.
Yeah.
You don't want to put anything on top of it.
No.
But once it's dry, you can even put
Oh.
weight on it,
Oh, okay.
and it'll help it
It'll do it.
because
Okay.
when the surface is dry,
yeah,
there's probably still some dampness underneath,
yeah.
and then that'll help with that.
Okay.
So
just a little word you were talking about.
Yeah.
Use it a credit card.
But
Yeah.
I see the point now.
The teacher that taught
Go
me.
ahead.
is it a
told me
pencil?
use a pencil.
Whatever
Sometimes
works.
credit cards could like cut it. Or,
Well, if you have these days, I use the edge of that, just a straight edge. We use rulers in school or whatever.
Yeah, she used a ruler.
I've used the plastic on
Yeah, on
that.
Yeah.
I think he's a natural.
That turns out.
I love it. Okay, Pat, are you ready for glue?
I think
You're still playing.
Play with mine.
You gonna want to play with yours? Okay.
How do you do
I love it. All right, we're back to. Do you need some more glue?
No, I think I'm
You
done.
good? Okay. All right, you get about 10 minutes before lunch. So, okay. Okay, Harold, let's think. All right, there's a lot happening.
Too much happening. That's gonna be on
Well,
the bottom.
It's going to be on the bottom. Well,
Yes.
let's look at it. Let's see what it does on the bottom. See if it helps you on the bottom. Okay.
Would you do the honors?
I will do the
So I
honors.
don't make a mess.
Well, I'm no guarantee that I won't make a mess.
Well, I'm not guarantee I'll get it over there. Thank you.
Okay. What would I do? Where's the willingness of God's mercy? Oh, worship the King. I would like something. I'm trying to think. Let me move this up here. I'm not sure we have what you need, so.
It was supposed to be Iron Feast the Bird, but I couldn't get it.
A what? It's supposed to be
Mighty
what?
Fortress.
Oh, a mighty fortress is our God.
But I couldn't get that in.
You couldn't. Well, we could have Xeroxed something at the.
That one instead of the.
Yeah, let's try something with texture because you've got a lot of sameness here. So let me just play for a minute, and then you can decide yay or nay. This will look nice under there.
I didn't see that texture.
That's okay. Let's just see what happens with that here. Kind of like. I think this is not working for that because it's so different
Okay.
from the other colors. I'm just might be better off doing like kind of overlapping orange and reds. Let's put some red underneath there.
I don't worry about the white around the edge.
You know, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. I might do something different there. Let's see. What is that? You never know what you're going to come up with it. Okay, I've got some like music.
More music, shoot.
Sometimes having a large. I'm going to do this. Kind of know where it's going. Having a large thing coming down in the third area might be kind of fun. Let's put that there. That can overlap. This will overlap. So it's lending itself to having kind of just more visual interest that way because everything was kind of straight across. And so, and I would say, you can play with this. You can, see what it looks like.
Well, I got a blank corner.
You get a blank corner and you don't have any other photos or anything. Would you like a photo? Would you like something else that's sort of,
Well, Can I put the green back in?
you can put the green back in if you want to.
Okay. Okay. I like the fact that you used a piece and got the
Piece of the church. I actually have a bulletin if you want to look at. I think we could use a piece from that. I was thinking. I don't know if there's something in here that you might like. I don't know. So you could use that little guy there.
Yeah, and he would fit across
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yep, you could do that. That's pretty dark. I wouldn't use that, but I didn't know if there was something proclamation, benediction.
Just a phrase.
Yeah, connected. I don't know. Just that's kind of fun to think about. If the word hymn, because you're, really focused on the music, kind of incorporates that too.
I saw you picking stuff up, and I said, you're gonna have glue all over your hand.
Okay, who's
You're like a little 6-year-old. Yeah. They don't do that.
okay? We got a few minutes. Yes, sir. Okay, so you have to work from the bottom up, which is difficult. You've got a lot going on. So go ahead and get that all wet. Oops, I think that was me. I'm sorry. I hit the $1,000.
Surveying everybody else.
So if anyone is interested, March 27th and at 1:30 King William, the San Antonio Art League is having an opening reception for their juried show, and I am in it. So I'd love anybody from the church to come and see it. If that's how you want to spend your Saturday afternoon. It is at San Antonio Art League and Museum, 1:30 King William. And it's 3 to 5. We always do a 3 to 5. There'll be libations and snack for people who need that sustenance after a church day. And there will be awards, and I've heard tell that I am going to get an award, and I'm really excited about that. It's very cool. It was a goal of mine that so it's I entered a watercolor, and it's going to be in the show. Nancy, that looks good. I like it on top like that. That's pretty.
Did you finish
Yeah.
all that?
Yes,
This was fun.
I did. That's very simple.
Okay. Yeah, putting the stuff down first is helpful. Yep. All right. You got all that wet, good for you. Yeah. And then every layer you want to make sure you put more glue on. In general, it will come through, but you just want to make sure you've got glue underneath every layer when you're layering like that. Okay. So and sometimes you have to press down real hard. Let me get you some more glue because you're going to need it. I don't know why this is so thin. That's so weird. I think y'all are actually closet artists, and you did not confess to me. You did not confess. Hey, listen, I'm impressed because at first Joe was like, I don't know. People were kind of
Well, I
like
think-
thinking they're not
I
artistic.
think this
you
is
know.
something you could get into.
I think it
because
is too.
You don't necessarily have to be the greatest artist in the world, but you have to.
Yes, well,
And you develop your
And he
eye. as
told
you go
that's
along.
right. It's a muscle just like anything else. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are a
what you
musician,
see.
you have to do it and practice and you make mistakes. And it's the same with art. The more you do
Exactly.
it, the more you get
That's right.
the hits rather than the bloopers.
Yeah, I can see.
Yes.
We just throw this away.
Go ahead and leave it for now in case anyone has to, we can finish and you can start your
See my little car?
lunch. Oh, very nice.
I changed,
Oh, I think she'll really appreciate that.
like I said,
Very
you
nice.
just fancy ones,
Fancy.
like the ones where you.
Oh, and
build
three-dimensional.
them.
Yeah. Nice.
Now I gotta take this off and come back so it stays back.
Okay, so sometimes you can cheat a little bit, Harold. I'm going to tell you, but yeah, it would help if it was on here, and that was my fault because I started doing that for you. So I'm going to help you. So I'm going to move. I didn't follow the rules. See, when you don't follow the rules, what happens?
You compromise all
You
the time.
compromise all the time. Or you have to have a really good memory. Oh, choral response. I love that. That's a great title.
I love it.
This is probably the first piece you're going to adhere.
Okay.
Okay.
When I used to
So
teach
go
my
ahead
kids
and load. You're going to load that with
I
glue.
went home
Okay.
with tape on my nose.
So you're going to load that with glue.
Right.
Load this.
Yes. And then probably start with the one on the bottom.
This is the side.
This is the side. Yeah. So let me get you there should be more. There's more plates under there. Whoop. I just lost. I lost contact with the Marfin surface. Sorry. I think we're good, right? All right. Let me. Okay. Here.
Oh, a little acrylic.
There you go. Okay. And here, why don't you use that?
This is Nancy's
I think
brush.
she's done. Yeah.
Nancy, are you done?
I think she's pretty close to being done. If not, there's another brush right there. So
Continue your brush.
okay. Well, then use this one, Harold.
Hand me that one right
Absolutely.
They are, yes.
Okay.
There's some more white.
All right. Okay. Just let it dry, and again, after lunch, you can come finish if you're not finished.
You're ready to take it off.
I'm ready to take it off. I'm nervous.
Well, you know, it really helped. They cut out all these pieces before we came. He says, I think we'll go a lot faster. Yeah.
That's cool.
And she makes all kinds of really hundreds of Christian cars. So she's used to working with all kinds of things like that. She has a pretty good eye. If our daughter was here, she would have even more. Yeah. They kind of give you an idea. We do Christmas gifts for each other, craft type gifts, you know, and everybody gets somebody's name. And I might try something. My son this year, I might try something like this if I can figure out what. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
It doesn't have to be, oh.
I'm just trying to think of what.
Yes. So, what I was saying, if anyone is interested on doing this kind of project as a gift for someone for Christmas, we could revisit that maybe in October, November. I'm willing to do that with people who are interested, and we can figure that out. I'll talk to Joe about it, and it doesn't have to be a Keys activity, but it could be a get together at the church activity for people who want to. Okay. Well, I've enjoyed it, and really and truly, art is to be shared, and it's very cathartic usually, and if somewhat nerve wracking for people. So anyway,
Thank you. I think we're getting close to food here. Yeah, we are. Oh, pretty good. Okay. Well, let's have a short prayer then for food. Dear Lord, we thank you today for this wonderful program that you have provided for us, and having Nancy here to teach us all about collages. I think we've all learned and enjoyed doing our own collages. And today we would ask that you bless this food that's about to be presented to us, and bless us to your service, and always be present in our lives. These things we ask in your name, Lord. Amen.